Hi there, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a lovely day. The lighting is a little bit bad because the sun is going crazy, and if I open the curtain, yeah, I have a reflection on my face. I'll just leave it for now. But yeah, for today's video, I am going to be doing my first time tag. I feel like a lot of people are going to think that I'm going to be talking about my first time, but I'm not, so yeah, so I have all of the questions written down in this little journal here. Please don't forget to subscribe if you would like to. I'm so close to 300 subscribers and it has been a goal of mine for a long time, so please do subscribe. And yeah, without any further ado, let's get into the video. Okay. So the first question is, first app you check in the morning. The very first app I check in the morning is Instagram or Twitter. Actually, it's usually Twitter. I check Twitter to make sure that everything is okay in the world, and that's where I usually find out if anything has happened overnight or anything like that, so definitely Twitter. My first broken bone. I have never broken a bone, but I have sprained my hand twice, and I have sprained my I sprained my ring finger not long ago, and it was awful. First foreign country you ever visited. It probably, I don't know if like definition of a foreign country, but my first, I suppose, country I've ever visited was England, and I was about 8 years old, I think. My first Instagram post. Now, I actually remember my very first Instagram post. If you're not following me on Instagram, my handle will be here, and I have about 808 posts, I think. So I had to scroll all the way through all of those. And my first Instagram post is me holding, so I had this editing app and I was going like this. I was holding like the galaxy, and it basically took me a long time to edit, and I thought I was great. So yeah, inserting picture here. The first makeup item I ever owned. I remember I got some pocket money, and I must have been about 11, I think, and I went into Boots and I had like a tenner or something, and I was really into mascara, so I went to Boots and I was like looking around, and I saw the Bourjois stand, and I was like, so I basically just went for the prettiest mascara I could see, which was the Bourjois, I don't know what it's called, but like it was like a silver packaging, and it had like pink writing, and it just basically I used it. I don't remember it being very good, but then again I didn't know what I was doing, so yeah. First plane ride you were ever on. When I went to England when I was 8 years old. I think, around 8 anyway. First time I got in trouble at home and in school. I get in trouble at home all the time, and I even did a lot when I was younger as well, because I was very, I was very bold and cheeky, and I still am. But in school I have never really gotten in trouble, but I do remember one time in primary school we were doing an art, and I didn't want, I think it was like, I didn't want to put something on my picture, and then the teacher, well, we all have to do the same thing, so she got mad at me, and she screamed at me in front of the whole class, and that was nice. Yeah, no, I just didn't want to do I wanted to be original. I wanted to have my own picture, but nope, we had to follow what everyone else was doing. First time you were allowed to wear makeup. So the very first time I wore makeup I was 12, but the first time I was allowed to wear makeup, in terms of like I didn't get like slated, or I didn't go, oh, take that off of your face, probably 14, when I was in secondary school, because I suppose I was experimenting it when I was 12, but it was so dark. Like, I know I still struggle with my foundation being too dark now, but even then it was like brown, and it was bad, and they just didn't like me wearing makeup because they said it would make my skin really bad. And the first YouTuber you subscribed to, the very first YouTuber I subscribed to was Whaley, and I remember this because I had just gotten my period, and I was looking up at all these videos about periods, and she did loads of videos about how to use a tampon and how to use all of this stuff, and I remember she was the very first YouTuber I subscribed to. And then I didn't really watch YouTube properly until I was 14, so probably the first YouTuber I was subscribed to was probably Zoe, like who I was consistent. I remember I watched all of her videos, like I was obsessed, and I've been subscribed to Zoe for about 4 years now. First time you went shopping on your own. I remember the very first time I was allowed to go shopping on my own, I was 14. No, that's a lie. I was 13. When I just made my confirmation and we were allowed to go shopping together with my friends. And my first boyfriend, so I was 14 years old when I had my first boyfriend. My first celebrity crush. Um, this is a little bit of a weird one, but I remember watching, I have older sisters, so I remember watching Friends with them, and I had a crush on Matt LeBlanc, who was Joey. I just thought he was so handsome, and I still do. So yeah. My first cooking experience, my very first proper cooking experience was probably in home ec in when I was 14 in first year, and I actually really liked it, but I did feel sorry for whoever I was cooking with because I was so bad and I made stupid mistakes. My first crush, and I might suppose I'll go into it. So basically the very first time I cooked in home ec, I um I can't remember what we were cooking. I think it was sausage rolls, and I like messed up so badly, and it was just a very stressful experience, and I didn't really have a good time. My first crush. I think I had my first crush when I was 10. I can remember him, but I'm not going to say anything about him obviously, but I can still remember him, and it was definitely very weird. He was like much older than I was. I mean, is that any surprise? I don't know. He was much older than I was, and he didn't even go to my school or anything, but I just like saw him a lot and I was like, you cute. Yeah. Um, my first ever cell phone. So basically, my very first phone I got when I was 13, I think, 12 or 13. And I remember it being like the Samsung equivalent of a BlackBerry. And it was like pink. And it was really cool at the time because I remember I used to go hip hop dancing and all of the girls had the exact same one and I was like, cute. Yeah. My very first date. I I'd say my very first date, like proper like date, was probably with my current boyfriend. Well, I say current as in my boyfriend now. And we went to the cinema when we were just, I think we weren't together yet, but like I didn't really have a date before that, as in like, oh, we should do this together kind of thing. My first kiss. I had my first kiss. I remember I was in, okay, so I had two first kisses. My first one like in primary school where you just like randomly kiss somebody on the lips, and then my first kiss. Sorry, somebody walked past my door and I always get very anxious when I'm filming videos. So when someone walked past, especially when I'm talking about my first kiss, I got a little bit shy. No, my first kiss was with my proper first kiss was I cannot speak, was with my very first boyfriend. So I was 14 years old, and it was actually at a disco, so it wasn't even a proper kiss. It was like just tongues everywhere, and yeah. My first year. I have my first year written down. My first year. I don't know what that means. Let me just check because I film on my phone, so I wrote everything down here. I'll just check. Give me a second. I actually meant to write down my first fear. So my very first fear, definitely without a shadow of a doubt, was my fear of water. Basically, when I was younger, I remember I went to a swimming pool with my mom and dad, and this kid like pushed me into the deep end, and I've actually had like, and I went down and I was tiny. I say I was only about like 6 or 7, and I'm a small person anyway, but even then I was like tiny. Put him all the way down and someone had to get me out, and ever since then I have a massive fear of water. Even when I'm in the shower, I just like, ugh, if I get shampoo in my eyes and I can feel the water around me, I just get very, very scared. And in first year then when we were going swimming, I had to like pull out of going swimming because I was way, way too afraid. My first friend. So my first proper friend was probably in primary school when I was, what age was I? Probably like 9 or 10, 10 or 11 maybe. I'm not really sure. 9 or 10 maybe. And no, wait a second. I'm not, do you know what? I don't know what age it was, but I remember her, we were like inseparable in school. We were always sitting beside each other. We were joking. I went to her house and we were like inseparable, and we actually don't talk anymore. Like nothing happened. We just went our separate ways, and yeah. My first heartbreak, probably when I was 14. My first internet activity. Probably YouTube. Basically, like I said, when I first got my period, I went to YouTube to talk about, well, to look up about periods and stuff because I was clueless. My first job, like I did work experience in a pharmacy and a hotel. My first language, is that like English? English is my first language. My first pet. My very first pet, I remember we had lots of cats and we had dogs. But my pet, is in that one that meant the most to me, was definitely a dog, and her name was Lassie. Lassie, she was absolutely gorgeous. I was madly in love with her. Even talking about her now gets me a little bit emotional. She unfortunately died in November of 2013, and honestly, I think about her every week. Okay, I'm getting emotional, but yeah, she was incredible, amazing, amazing, amazing. Whew. My first piercing and when. So I got my very first ear piercing, well, like my piercing was my ears, when I was like 2 years old. And I don't actually wear earrings anymore. My holes are still my holes are still open, considering that I don't wear earrings a lot. But I mean, I just, earrings, I find them very uncomfortable, and I need top quality ones, or else the cheap ones just irritate my ears and I can't wear them. My first swear word, probably fuck or shit or shite. My first sexual experience. My first tattoo. I actually don't have a tattoo, but I really, really want one, like so bad. I'm actually looking to get one next year, maybe. I just need to make sure that I really, really like it, and it's going to be one like here, I think. I'm not going to say anything for definite because I'm very indecisive and I'll probably change my mind. So therefore I won't actually say anything about it, but... The next one is my first thought today. I have no idea. I actually remember what my first thought today was, and it is quite dark. If you're following me on Twitter, if not, handle here, but I was tweeting a lot yesterday about the rape case in Belfast, which really upsets me. And my first thought this morning when I checked my phone, I was looking at more, I suppose, girls who were coming out about what happened to them, and my first thought this morning was, wow, this world is fucked up, and this girl did not get her justice and her country failed her. That was my first thought of today, which is sad. And my first time on a plane, I was 8 years old when I was my first time on a plane. My first time on a train, I must have been, I feel like 12, probably 12 or 13, I think. Because when we went up to Dublin for the Clare match, the final that they won, the All-Ireland final, and I was about 13, I think. My first tweet. Now, I could not be arsed. If you follow me on Twitter, I tweet a lot. I have over 5,500 tweets. I cannot be arsed going down all the way to my first tweet. But I feel like it was when I created my blog, actually, which I don't really write in anymore, which I probably should start again. It was when I created my blog, and it probably was like, oh my god, I'm on Twitter, what am I doing? Or something like that. Like, I don't know, I was stupid, but something like that. My first YouTube video, my first YouTube video was still on public, which is probably first YouTube video is still on public, which is quite probably a mistake. It was awful, but I do like to leave it there because, like, I just like looking back. I mean, I could put it on private and still look back, but I like looking back and knowing how far that I've come. And I think when I first started out my YouTube channel, I did not think I was going to get like 100 subscribers. I thought if I got 100 subscribers, I'd be amazing. Now, I'm close to 300, and I know, like, I've been on YouTube for almost 2 years, but, like, I love it, and I just, like, for anyone there, if you're a small YouTuber yourself, or if you're scared to start out YouTube, do it. Like, it's so good, and, like, it's so much fun, and yeah, you get shit for it, but, like, I mean, I'm having fun, so, like, I just like looking back at it, and it just shows, like, in a few years, when I look back, I'm like, oh my god. Like, I picture myself doing YouTube long term. Well, no, like, as a hobby and stuff, I absolutely love it. So, yeah, my first YouTube video was awful. I was all over the place, and my lovely friend let me film in her house because I was so nervous, and she went through it with me, and it was actually really good. Like, the experience was really good. The video, on the other hand, not so much, but hey. My first online profile picture. So I actually went through phases where I took a lot of selfies and stuff, but I ended up deleting a lot of them. But on my Facebook profile, I actually have one photo that probably is the oldest one of me. I mean, I don't know. Um, yeah, I'll show you that one. I was going to my first disco and I'd borrowed my friend's skirt and her top, and yeah, that photo is, there's no words. I think I have glowed up since then, so there is hope for all of us. Um, the first book I remember reading, the very first proper book I remember reading, I think I was about 10. I was reading the Enid Blyton books. I'm saying her name wrong, I know. And it was something 5 or something like that, and I can remember them so well because I was glued to them. And another at the same period of time, I was obsessed with Jacqueline Wilson. Like, honest to God, I would read her books all day, every day. And I've actually unfortunately gone out of reading as much as I used to, which is really sad because I used to be obsessed with reading. I just don't have time. Um, the first concert I ever went to was One Direction, and I had a ball of a time. It was great. The only thing was I didn't know that I had anxiety at the time, so I did find it very hard, but it was great. I'm a little bit wheezy and my asthma is playing up a little bit, so if you hear, that's probably why. The first movie, honestly, I couldn't tell you. I probably shouldn't have put this one down because I actually don't know the answer to that, which I'm really sorry about. The first person I talked to this morning, um, like on social media, probably my boyfriend, but then actually physically talk to, that would have been my sister Kira. Um, the first person you tell when something happens, definitely my boyfriend Oshin or my best friend, because like I'll just be online, I'm like, oh my god, guess what happened to me? Guess what happened to me? And he'll know instantly, or she'll know instantly as well. Um, the first text I sent today, I actually looked at this before um I uh I filmed this video, but the first text I sent today was to my boyfriend, and he'd asked me why I was. He's like, "Wow, you stayed up late last night," and I was like, "Yep," that was literally it. I was staying up at 12:30 last night, and I was basically just on Snapchat. Um, the first thing I do every morning, check my phone, of course, which is really bad. I mean, the very first thing I open my eyes, but that's a bit common sense. But like I do check my phone almost straight away, which is actually kind of bad. But the first thing I do when I get home, honestly, like check my phone. Like I've just been at school for like a long time, so I just sit in my bed and just read through Twitter, read through any messages, and I waste a lot of time. But sure, look, the first time I got drunk, I don't drink a lot, which I'm fine admitting, but like I was at a party and I didn't drink that much, but because I don't drink, I got a little bit tipsy. Like when I was walking, I could feel my legs kind of going their own way, and I was saying things that I wouldn't normally necessarily say, and but I still remember everything. So then I wasn't drunk, I was just tipsy, or happy as I called it. I don't know. The first wedding I ever attended. The first wedding I attended, I think, was one of my auntie's weddings. And I actually still remember that really clearly, and I don't know why, but I remember I was wearing like a bluish dress, and it was like velvet, it was a blue velvet dress. And I stayed in a hotel and I had a lot of fun, from what I can remember. The first party I went to. Now, this is a hard one because first party could mean anything. It could mean the first birthday party you went to when you were a kid. It could mean the first disco you went to, or it could mean like an adult party that you went to. Well, not adults, but like a teen party that you went to. So the first birthday party I went to, I was like 5 years old. I still remember it very well. It was one of my friends in primary school. I had a great time. Then the first disco I went to was the profile picture I've just showed you. I was 14 years old. And then the first adult, I suppose, teen proper party was only a few months ago. So that was cool. My first time going to a sleepover, what age was I? I was 12, and it was one of my friends in primary school, and we had so much fun. I still remember that really well as well. We were like, I remember we took loads of selfies, and she did my makeup, and we did like a photo shoot. I remember it so well. Like, my first fist fight. Now, obviously, guys, if you know me, I'm not a violent person at all, but there was a time in um in primary school where me and this girl had a little bit of beef, but I was on the swing and I had like some food and she wanted some of my food and I was like, bitch, no. Which still is the same, right? Like I'll share my food, but I'm very reluctant about it. And I said no, and she like flung me off the swing. I landed on my face, and then I slapped her. So yeah, that was great. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little get to know me talk, my first time kind of a video. And yeah, I actually really enjoyed filming this, a little bit too much. Oh my god. It's probably long, but that's okay. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to smash the thumbs up, comment and subscribe. And if you want me to do anything, well, that sounded weird. If you want me to film anything, please let me know. My social medias are always linked down below, and I will see you next time, or very soon actually, with another video. Bye.